These are the tales and ramblings of two men, their dream of running a successful food truck business and life. We invite you along to join Josh and Skippy on this journey. This is Monday Morning Food Truck.
Good morning, everybody. Waiting on Skippy to hop on. For those that don't know, we are not in the same location when we record these, so he is running just a minute behind, but we wanted to get started on time or as close as we can. We might have to cut out a couple minutes early. I have an appointment, someone committing to give a quote later today for me, so we'll get through some stuff. We have one of our newer listeners, Isaac, who has binged listened to every episode in the last few weeks. More questions from him, which is great. And Skippy is joining. I see his name on my Zoom. Good
All right,
morning,
here.
Skippy. Hi.
So for some reason, the meeting keeps getting deleted from Zoom, so I have to go into messages just to find the link again.
Oh, that's weird.
I know.
I'll check the reoccurrence on the invite to make sure that it stays for you.
Well, I just need to keep Facebook open. That's all. Hi.
Hey, we're live already. I started on time.
Hi, we're live. Like, I can't do the Bruce Buffer we're live, but
Why not?
I tried to on my post. Doesn't really work too well.
Wow. All right.
Anyway, hey, how's it going today?
Good morning. It's a beautiful Monday. A little chilly out today. Here
It is
in
a,
the
it's
side
a,
of
a
Michigan.
bit nippy out. Bit nippy.
It's 52 now, which isn't bad, but it was in the 40s this morning when I walked outside at 5 o'clock. It was chilly. But it was dew and not frost, so it can't be that cold. But that is around the corner, I feel. This week's supposed to be warm up, though, for us. We're supposed to hit 80s again.
Yeah, I saw Thursday was like 79 or something like that.
Yeah, which, you know what? I am ready for this part of the year where when they talk about us heating up, it's 80 and not 95.
Yeah, not with a heat index of 100 and
Yeah.
kiss my ass.
Yeah, I'm glad I think we are finally past that section of summer, so.
Don't say that. You remember the last time you said something stupid like that and you jinxed yourself?
I don't say anything stupid. It's not nice to call names Skippy. I feel bullied and attacked.
I
This
didn't
is a
call
safe
you
space.
stupid. I did not direct that towards you. I did not say you were stupid. I said you might say stupid things.
Implying
A
that.
very intelligent person can say stupid things. It's okay.
Okay.
So last week I was in a funk. I was almost ready for the year to be over.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
pretty much there on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we can talk about that in a minute. You were working this week, right? You weren't off this week, right?
No, I wasn't off. I was off like head-wise, but I was working.
Okay, it's all starting to run together on me. I can't keep anything straight. This week mentally for me was tough as well. Where I'm at the point where I'm ready for November. Like, I'm ready for some actual true rest.
If I wasn't so close to my yearly revenue goal, I would. And I didn't have a $30,000 payment coming up near November.
If I hadn't just bought a brand new trailer, I'd consider shutting it down now. So, Skippy, let's start with you. How was your week?
Oh, my week.
On the trailer, I understand mentally it was rough, but I'm assuming that had something to do with a lackluster sales week.
In all fairness, sorry to say, not really. It was, so I've been married for 20, it'll be 23 years in February.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, we've always had a job where both of us leave together, both of us come home together.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I pick on, as much as we say, "Oh, it's great to be away from our wives," uh, I kind of miss the home life because she was away. She was staying at clients' houses, and I had absolutely like just zero energy. However, so it kind of just brought me down. Um, but otherwise, gross sales for the week were just under 10, which definitely didn't make me overly happy. Um,
So you're above 9?
yeah, I was at 93.59.
It's not a bad week though.
For what I had going on, it wasn't,
Yeah,
but
and
it
well,
was just
yeah.
so it was super long days. So
I want to get back to our weekly, like, yeah. I want to touch back on what kind of number are we looking for week to week
yeah,
after we
sure.
get through this.
In all fairness, I was pretty close to that quote unquote number,
Okay.
but um, so Tuesday was just a super long day. It was a 2 hour food truck rally, and then 3 hour subdivision. Um, that subdivision's great, but the last two times has not been great. We had our roadside that we normally have in the beautiful city of Brooklyn. Found out across the street next to the big boy, there's a new Taco Bell going in.
Oh.
Uh, that will, if it's run like the McDonald's that's in town, it shouldn't be a problem. There's like an 18-year-old kid who's like the store manager of that McDonald's. It's crazy.
Nothing
Um,
wrong with that.
I did have probably one of the coolest catering events I ever had. It was a drop off to Car and Driver Magazine's 10 Best event.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna mute myself for a second. I have to
Sure,
print something, and that usually riles up the assholes. So,
no problem.
yeah, he's already. It made one little noise. He's already over there. I'm just waiting for.
What? Yeah. Um, and then we had a farmers market that is it's a horrible time frame. It's from 2 to 6, and there's probably 10 vendors at this farmers market. I think I made more money than they did, which I kind of feel bad sometimes. So if it wasn't for that invoice, it'd have been a shitty day. I was feeling so bad about just everything that I canceled my Friday night event. I honestly couldn't get off the couch. It was just one of those days that I just didn't want to move, didn't want to do anything. So we didn't obviously make any money that day. Um, Friday or Saturday, we got called to ask if we would do a fundraising event at a person's home. Expected anywhere from 125 to 200 people. Two bands, kind of bluesy bands, cover bands. Um, in the 4 hours I was there, did I don't know, $900 or whatever. Not They asked for any feedback. I said the one feedback I have is I was the only food, and I did not hear my name. I did not hear us once saying, "Hey, we appreciate the food truck for coming out. Go see him." Um, they whatever. I know that might be pretty petty to say, but it's more of let people knew we were there, but if they were thinking about eating, it could have driven a little bit more sales. Yesterday we had our neighborhood fruit farm. We always seem to do good there. Knock on wood. Did about 2,500. Listened to the Lions game. Ooh, sorry, bud.
They didn't deserve to win it. Definitely, yeah, yeah. Not a football podcast, but they definitely didn't seem to be all there.
Yeah, we were listening to it. There were some questionable calls according to what Mr. Dickerson was saying, but other than that, it was
Both
it just
ways,
didn't
though.
look like it. Yeah,
It was definitely both
did.
ways.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it,
The Lions gave the game away, so
and
that's
that
all on
happens.
them.
Yeah, their defense did not show up in overtime,
It wasn't
even if
there
they had
most
a
of the game.
chance. Hutchinson was there, not Hutchinson, but yeah, Aiden Hutchinson was looking like he was kicking ass.
He was pretty quiet for most of the game.
Well, they said his name like 800 times.
That's because it's Hutch and
Oh.
he's the star. Yeah, we can throw an asterisk next to the game. They were missing their own right tackle, and so yeah, so we can throw some asterisks in there.
Well, we can put a star on that day because that was the best day of the week, and yeah, yep, that's yeah, so good, so good.
So yeah, yep.
I'm somewhat feeling better. I actually didn't wake up until 8 o'clock this morning, so got some sleep maybe.
Yeah,
I really can't wait till the new trailer comes in because it'll make my life, I think, a little bit more easier. Um,
yeah, and
and
let's hit back on that a little bit with the toll
yeah,
this takes this job that we have. So uh,
you definitely work harder than you ever have in your life.
yeah,
Absolutely. Hey, go ahead.
um, my week. Yeah, I don't want to skip right to the weekend. Hold on, let me grab my. I don't even remember where we were before Friday, so let me grab my book real quick.
Well, that was so as you can tell, people for listening live or on the podcast. Um, the weekend wasn't good for him. Uh,
Okay. Oh, you know what? The week didn't start off too awful, more or less. Yeah, we had our Spectrum location. We had one of those on Tuesday. That was okay. Our subdivision was okay. It was an okay day. It was a average day. We had a private event for Republic Waste Management. 130 people from 11 to 5, so all
oh,
day
that's all.
as their trucks are coming in and out. So the 130 people spread over 6 hours. The pace was a little quicker than what we expected it probably to be. We kind of expected to get like 5 people at a time every 15 minutes or whatever, but it was a pretty much a steady flow of people all day. So
Trying to
when
figure
you
out how to
do,
word this.
huh?
So you're trying to figure out how to word this?
Yes. So when you do these types of events where it's company pay, so we do full menu. They can order whatever they want. Okay? Or anything
Okay.
off the menu. We expect the person or the company that's paying to set guidelines for their staff. More or less. Hey, let's keep it to an entree and a side, or, whatever.
Oh,
Okay? That's not on us to tell them what they can or cannot have. Right? Right?
no, I do it different. I tell them up front that we're going to limit it to a sandwich at a side or a loaded mac.
Okay.
But okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. I get where you're going.
So we had people ordering 2 meals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Straight up, they were saying, I'm going to get this, and then can I get this one to go for dinner tonight? Right? Yeah, sure,
Yep.
whatever. Figuring, because we have that once or twice, and we usually see people come back up towards the end of an event, say, hey, can I get something else or whatever, especially if they're way below their minimum tab.
Yep.
They'll let people come back up and get more food. But people were ordering like 2 loaded Macs, a sandwich, and a side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is fine. We didn't run out of food. Naturally, we ran out of items because I'm not going to bring pork for 140 people, brisket for 140 people, and enough mac and cheese to make 140 loaded mac and cheeses.
Yeah.
And we
Exactly.
we let our customers know that ahead of time that we will run out of items, and it is what it is, unless you want to pay more, and then
Yep.
keep all the leftover food. But anyway, so it was okay. But yeah, I think we've learned a lot this year, and we're going to err on the side of way over communicating next year. with our people, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. And with these types of events, we're going to ask them if they want us to limit it. We're going to have all these conversations ahead of time. Do you want us to limit? Are you guys going to limit? Are you going to give them guidelines for what they can or cannot order? Because we take meat by the pound off and all that, so we have a smaller menu for those types of events. But as far as number of items they're allowed to order, if we don't hear anything, we're going to let them order whatever they want. But even with all that, they still ended up $100 underneath their minimum tab. So, and their minimum tab was just higher just because of the length of time.
Yeah.
We were there all day. So anyways, so that was a good day. Guaranteed money is always good. Pretty good day at the Ottawa County Jail. And then we had this was the start of the weekend. So a new subdivision. They have food trucks once a year. They bring out a food truck once a year for their annual homeowners association meeting. They typically do it outside. They have a green space in the thing, so they do it outside. So it's a big event where they invite everybody out to have an outdoor meeting and bring in a food truck to help for a food option for people.
Okay.
Okay. I was like, great. An organized event where people will know we're there for a decent sized subdivision. It was awful. I think we saw 15 people over the course of 3 hours.
Oh.
Yep. So, yeah, not a great dinner that night.
Anything you can attribute that to?
I don't know. It's Hudsonville. It's not we can't seem to crack the Hudsonville nut. It's just, we've had decent outings at a couple subdivisions, but it's never consistent. I don't know. There was some issue with, I think, how we were marketed. Again, yeah, just miscommunication. I think we were there at 4, ready to serve at 4. She didn't advertise us until 5:30, which was the time the homeowners association meeting started. So she advertised us 5:30 to 7:30 for the meeting, and we had advertised 4 to 7. So, so yeah, I think a lot of people had eaten before they went to the meeting, thinking that we weren't going to be open until the start of the meeting. I think was part maybe of the problem. So
Okay.
But all in all, yeah, Sunday through Thursday, average week. Not a bad week, not a great week. We were fine. It was okay. As we move into what should have been our biggest event of the year, probably. 3-day food truck Art of Food Festival on the opening weekend of Art Prize. For the most part, picture perfect weather. I think we ended up with about 22 trucks total. Amidst Art Prize installations and an artisan vendor area, probably a block and a half off of the center of downtown Grand Rapids, where there was an African American festival going on Friday, Saturday. There was a lot going on downtown. There was a lot of people everywhere.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, a block and a half away at the African American Festival, there was also 10 trucks.
Oh.
So, if you've not done Art Prize before, or been in downtown Grand Rapids, so Rosa Parks Circle is the center of Grand Rapids. It's where the ice skating rink is, where they do the tree lighting. It's kind of the unofficial center of the city, where if you're going to do something like Art Prize, you park in that area and kind of spoke out from there, and you can come back and, so having 10 trucks there really took a lot of people from us a block and a half away. So I think we talked last Monday that my goal was between 9 and 10 I would have been happy with that. We cooked medium-ish, not knowing what the event was going to be like. Didn't cook for amazing days. We cooked for really good days. So yeah, we were figuring about $3,000 a day. Yeah, we weren't anywhere near that. So Friday we did about 1,000. Saturday was better at 1,800, and then Sunday, which was the short day, we did 12.
1,000?
What's that?
1,000?
No, 100. Yeah,
Maybe.
there was no way I was gonna have food for $12,000. Yeah, we went in super light on Sunday, and we had other issues on Sunday. So earlier in the week, someone asked if they could get pulled pork for like 12 pounds of pulled pork. Wanted to pick it up Friday, Saturday, or Sunday for a birthday party on Sunday. I said, let's do Sunday because it should be our slowest day of the event weekend.
Yeah.
Something we can manage handing out 12 pounds easy. Little did I know it should have been Friday or Saturday. We should have done that. But anyways. So yeah, it was between remembering and forgetting ish. So like, we had the pork, but I was like, that morning, it's like, well, we don't need all this pork for today, so I'll just set a couple in the fridge. We'll deal with it, whatever, later. So right off the smoker, pull it, fridge. Which is the only way that I will ever use cooled down pork. We had talked about, you mentioned me Friday, about possibly reusing any of our leftovers, and it had already been pulled and heated all day because we were expecting to be busy. So it's not like we had unpulled pork butts in the warmer, you know. So at that point for me, anything that's held all day goes. So she shows up at the trailer at 10:30 Sunday morning. She's like, yeah, I had talked to you earlier in the week about getting 12 pounds of pork. Chris looks at me with panic. I look at Chris with panic. I was like, yep, I forgot you were coming. Completely forgot you were coming. So we had 2 pans of pork in the warming cabinet. 2. Totaling 12.5 pounds exactly. I said, what time do you need to have this? She's like, the party's not until 3. I said, okay, shoot me your address. Let's pay for it now, and I will run down and deliver to you in time for your party. Because we still had the other 2 pans ready to go, just needed to be rewarmed a little bit. So we mixed the 2 together, and I shot down and delivered that for her, and everything was hunky-dory happy. So yeah, it was a weekend, and yeah, anxiety and was high through this weekend because I think we talked about it last night. It's like I really need a good festival weekend because we've had a stretch now where everything's been meh from what we expected it to be. So over the last few weeks, and it's my own fault, and this is karma coming back to me. And I truly believe that when you put bad shit out into the universe, it comes back for you. We had never, ever, ever flaked out on an event before. Once we signed up for something, we're going to go. And it so happens that we were signed up for an event this past weekend in Sparta, the Sparta Apple Festival, which by all accounts probably was a great event. So when this opportunity came up, we canceled that event, took this event, because the potential payday was bigger. Should have been by far bigger, by all accounts and purposes. So, yeah, ever since we had canceled Sparta, our events have been shit since then. So, lesson learned. Sorry, universe. Noted. We will no longer flake out on any other events. So, once we're signed up, we're signed up. Having a second trailer will help. So yeah, it was $1,100 for the 3 days for us to get there, to add insult to injury. Add that to food. I think we made $5 for the weekend.
Going back to Sunday, when you said 1,200?
$1,200, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Going back to what you're saying, all with all this, all the lower sales, I'm like, he didn't make $12, did he?
Our first hour was 25.
Oh,
So yeah,
boy.
we had those, especially Friday. Like on Friday, we had 4 hours that were over $100. 4 hours over $100 for 9 hours, and none of them were over 250. It's a long day, and that was all the trucks. Like there was trucks that were seriously considering being done on Friday and just cutting bait and leaving and saying screw the 1100, we're done. But yeah, for the most part, everybody kind of doubled or near doubled what they did on Friday on Saturday, and then Sunday was pretty slow, which didn't really surprise me. I figured Sunday would probably be a slower day,
Yeah.
and actually was not a. I mean, relatively speaking to the weekend, not awful.
So it probably would have been better to go to the African American Festival.
Yeah, which we had gotten an invite to. They had reached out to us, but we had already. I mean, I was already juggling the two events, trying to decide which one to go to. I couldn't add a third into the mix. But yeah, things we know. So our friends, Lauren with Patty Matters, she had trucks at both spots because she has two trucks. So she had two trucks downtown Grand Rapids, a block and a half apart. And yeah, she did much better at the other one.
Yeah.
So yeah, she spent her weekend with just walking back and forth between the two trucks and seeing how things were going. So, yeah, it's they're not all going to be great, but it definitely doesn't help mental states. So especially back to back weekends with food truck festivals,
Yeah.
that were not great. And this one, Alan, who is the head of the Grand Rapids Food Truck Association, really, he does everything. He owns a truck, he owns a brick and mortar, and does all the organizing, all the planning, all the booking for all of the Grand Rapids events, all the Grand Rapids Food Truck rallies. It's all him, only him. He's the only one. So I know his time's thin, and I know it's hard for him to make these events huge and great. But there was no other draw there. There was
Yeah.
two art prize installations. You had the artisan fair, but there was no live music. It was advertised that there was going to be music remotes all weekend long, and that was not the case. The best we had was one of the local radio stations had their van there just pumping out the live radio without anybody on site. Another radio station was there Friday just handing out stuff, no music.
Ugh.
So that's a hard sell. I would think it was Lauren. She said if there was a kite festival with like 15 kite people over there, and then there was a food trucks, then should we be doing much better? But there's no draw. We're just a food court in the middle of downtown Grand Rapids. The only reason you'd go there is to get food. So
And technically, you're the second food court in downtown Grand
Exactly.
Rapids.
So, yeah, I think there's tremendous potential, especially if you go with the art of food moniker. I think it takes, yeah, you got to have stuff for people to do. There's a lot you can do with art and food. I think that there is those artists out there. Food carving is a huge thing and was a huge thing a while ago, and that's still there. Can you do something with that, or do demonstrations, or do some sort of food war type cook-off?
Yeah. There's got to be some sort.
Something
for sure.
fun for people to come and see. Hell, have a food fight. Have an organized food fight on the plaza. Grand Rapids loves doing stupid shit like this, where we've had the most number of people wearing smiley faces or whatever. They turned fucking the Michigan Hill into a giant slip and slide. was the largest slip and slide in America or the world or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, to do something like that, that would be fun and cool to have people there. I like the food fight idea. I think we need to figure out how to do that better. But something that's easy to clean up, though.
A lot of power watching.
Yeah, nothing that stains.
A lot of power watching. I did get from that event I did Saturday that they didn't tell anybody I was there. I got a text from him and it says lots of comments from for you from your food. The guitar player turned to his wife and said, "If I'm ever on death row and they ask me what I want for my last meal, tell them I want that mac and cheese or that brisket mac and cheese I had last night." I'm like, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was good.
We had a podcast listener stop by our truck on Saturday.
Did you?
Yep, and they said they loved the. That's I wasn't there. Keener said, "Yep, someone stopped by, said they loved the show." So whoever that was, thank you for listening.
We appreciate
you
Thank
stopping by.
I'm only like an hour and a half away. You can come see me too.
Come see me too. Yeah, I don't know where they were from, or if they were even local to Grand Rapids or what. But
My food's better.
if I had your name, I would give you a shout out. Yeah, it's
Well, let's shout out everybody.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so this week should be okay. We have 3 private events, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So just a few days of normal service that should be okay location. So
I have a sub Tuesday, a food truck rally Wednesday, a very weird event that I'm not looking forward to on Thursday. A brewery on Friday that sent me an email and said, "Hey, just so you know, we've had food trucks out the last few Fridays, and while our sales have been good, their sales have not been what they thought about in the past. There's a new bistro that opened up next door. Let me know if you still want to come out." And I'm like, well, got nothing else going on that day.
well, and
So-
good for them.
I do appreciate the email telling me that.
That is very considerate, and I wish more hosts were of the same thought.
Yeah,
You know,
I do appreciate them telling me that. So therefore, I'd want to go out because of it. So I'll just kick ass anyway.
yeah, good for them for being that thoughtful. Yeah, it should be an okay week. Yeah, company provided lunch. Our last Etna counter day in Jackson, so we'll be in your neck of the woods that day.
Oh,
That is one I
When's that?
asked if you were available before I took it. So don't be mad
when's
at me.
that?
Huh?
When is it?
It's Thursday, the 21st.
Oh, that's my event that I'm not looking forward to. Okay.
Yeah, I had reached out to you first, and you said that you were
Yep.
already booked. So I would have been happy to let you have that. Yeah, and then so Steelcase, their wood plant, they're closing down their cafeteria. They do that on Fridays, September and October, and then bring in a food truck. So 500 people on site that day on Fridays for lunch. So we'll see how many we get. I'm not sure how aggressively we're going to cook. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to reach out to her and ask what other trucks they've had, and then see if I can reach out to those trucks and see kind of what the transaction counts are, just so I have an idea. And then we have a wedding on Saturday. This will be, Chris and Caleb will be doing that one pretty much on their own. I'm doing the cook overnight, so I'll have all of the protein will be all set, and mac and cheese will be all set in the morning. It's a weird cook, so it's pork and like 5 sides. So, but then our good friend Mark Rasmussen with the BarbecueSuperstore.com and had invited me. They needed a 4th for a golf outing up in Manistee, so I'll be headed up there to As soon as I get done pulling the pork off the smoker and getting the mac and cheese done, I'm hopping in my car and driving 2 hours because I have to be there 8:15 in the morning to tee off for
Oh boy.
one of 2 rounds, which I wasn't aware that this was a 2-round day, which I have not played 2 rounds in a single day. It's been a while. So, yeah, Chris and Caleb are going to handle that. Should be easy peasy for them. And then, yeah. So it should be a good week. And then we have another a festival next weekend that's not a food truck festival, but an actual festival that there's food at the following weekend to end September. So we have the Hudsonville Farmers Market a couple times, which should be a $300 to $400 lunch, which sucks. But it is what it is, and we kind of learn and move on. But outside of those, should be a good second half of September, I hope. So I don't know that we're going to hit our 50,000 mark for the month. But I think we can get close.
Yeah.
So. Excuse me. Sorry.
I just had an invoice pay. I'm now 5,000 away from last year's total.
Cool.
And I got two big invoices still coming up.
Nice. So you'll be positive in no time.
Yeah, positively fucked in the head. Anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
real quick. I
Yeah.
had mentioned this while I was waiting for you to hop on, but probably need to be done by 10:20. I got a concrete guy coming today to get quote my second driveway. And 10:30 was the only time he had available until.
I can give you that quote. Expensive.
Yeah, I know.
Yep, that's definitely a good quote for that.
Yeah.
It was 14,000 for my asphalt driveway.
Isn't concrete cheaper?
No, not anymore. I guess.
Really?
Yeah, because my buddy last year was going to do concrete and then like a way around his garage, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was 9,800 for the whole thing, and that was a lot of concrete. Now it's just 9,800 for his like 2-car driveway.
Whoa. Okay.
And we're talking 2-car driveway, probably 4 cars can fit in it. How about that?
Oof.
Yeah.
So for me,
Well, that keep in mind that was tear out, so you don't yours is just rock and so
in theory, an easier pour.
theory, yes. Yeah, theory is could be easier.
Yeah.
Most
All right.
likely won't.
I can't wait to see my $25,000 quote for my second driveway.
Is this extending like that little just to get up to where you park your trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from there, from the side of my garage all the way down to the road.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's
I didn't
a
realize you
true
were doing that.
second driveway because once we have 2 trailers parked there, being able to, so the one furthest away from the garage trying to pull out and around the other trailer would be difficult. So we need to be able to pull straight out onto the road if both trailers are parked there.
Yeah, because I wonder if they have to cut your little guy out first, remove that, and then just pour.
It's brand
Some
new.
brand new.
Just butt it up against it. It'll be fine.
Sure, it will be.
If not, then it'll probably be a crushed concrete type deal, recycled concrete,
That's what I'm doing. Is I'm doing crushed asphalt.
which is fine. I just need something that I can drive on.
Yeah.
So at this point, it doesn't need to be perfect. Just needs to be usable.
It's funny. They told me they're going to come this week, and because I didn't wake up, I didn't have my phone near me, and I hear what I think is a garbage truck. I'm like, well, garbage isn't out here this on Mondays. So I go out and I see an excavator. I see everything. They're dumping dirt, whatever. And I'm like, oh, and I look at my phone. She's like, oh yeah, we had an emergency, so we're coming out to do your job now. I'm like, okay, have at it, get after it. And then right before I hopped on, they're like, oh, we have another emergency. We got to go do an emergency sewer replacement. So we'll be back tomorrow.
Lots of emergencies. I wouldn't expect that from.
Like, I just want it done. paid you a month ago. I just want it done now.
But yeah, hopefully, we're only. Oh, that was weird.
We have a lot of questions to answer.
Yes,
But
and I want to get to the. We rushed through so many of them last week that I
yeah.
definitely don't want to do that this week. Yeah, Isaac had, I think 2 weeks ago, had started listening to us, and now has
Thank you.
fully caught up and binged what is sure to be about 100 hours of us rambling, and dogs.
Isaac,
barking,
we thank you. We
and
definitely thank you for that.
occasional poor audio, and I'd be interested to hear how he thinks we have progressed and grown over the last year plus with the quality of our episodes. But
Um,
I'm
definitely don't send us that information because we don't want our egos to be
I do. I want
hit.
it. I know the original episodes were probably awful, and I would love to hear that from him. So I've thought about going back and listening to a couple of the early ones, but when we attempted to have some sort of structure and
Attempted. Yeah,
attempted to
there's
have
no
structure.
structure. I'm very sorry about not having any structure.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyways, all right, questions.
well, hold on. I apologize. We went a little bit too far. You wanted to talk about first about
Oh,
our days and what we're shooting for. I think that's kind of where you were going with
well,
that.
for the week. So, I mean, I kind of have an idea because our costs stay relatively the same. Mine do at least week to week, unless we have something big going on where we have a bump in food costs. But we typically cook the same amount of food week to week. We go through the same amount of supplies week to week. I average week.
Yeah.
So for us, anything over like $8,000, and we're doing pretty good. I mean, we're making money for the week type of thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my target. If we can get over 8, it's not a bad week. It's this.
So
Actually, that's not true. It's about 6 to 7. I think is where we were at. So
But that includes your payroll and everything?
yeah.
Shoot for the stars.
Huh?
So when I first started this, going through this was in our very early episodes. I had a dollar amount that I wanted to make per week or per day. I did per day
Mm-hmm.
to make this work. So, pay my bills and stuff like that. So my per day, I want to make $500 a day. So cooking 6 days or I was at the time I was only doing 5, but so what's that? 2,500 a week.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
That was your break even.
No, that was my goal. That was my goal to make in sales.
Right. So that's your. I mean, but yeah, but that pays the bills.
That pays the bills and puts money in the bank.
Okay.
Because I don't. If I go to a subdivision, I'm cooking like 2 and 2, 2 butts, 2 briskets.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if the briskets are small, like they have been. If I go to a festival, that's when I start cooking a lot, and I think that's why I got a little down to funk last week because I was cooking a lot of food.
Yeah.
I had a couple drop offs, stuff like that, and I think that's what did it. Just cooking a lot. I don't understand how people just cook a lot of food every single day. It's a lot of work. And I get it. You probably have people that will process it for you, and maybe all you got to do is just make sure that pit's running right. But when you're doing it and then processing it and then selling it and doing everything, it can take its toll.
Mm-hmm.
So that was mine. So if I do a $9-10 grand week, that's fantastic.
Right.
I'm overjoyed. So
So,
but
yeah,
yeah,
I mean-
2,500 was mine.
So that 6 to 7 for me doesn't include me being paid. So that's straight business expense. My owner withdrawal is dependent on us making money. So I'm no longer on payroll. I don't have a set pay, really. There's no
Oh.
schedule. So owner distribution is kind of where I'm at with that
Yeah.
right now. which is fine.
So-
It's been consistent weekly, but if we have a shit week, like a really really shit week where we're only pulling in 4,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay myself that week. I'm not going to take
Well,
an owner distribution that week because we're already going to be at a loss. It's roughly $2,200 is what gets taken out for payroll for me for a week for my 3.
So what? We could go into this, so we might
And that-
want to
that-
wait till next week.
I don't
Why?
know.
Why'd you change?
Um, based on what I've read and heard from other various experts via tax and business law for right now.
Okay.
Technically, you're not supposed to be on payroll. Just with the structure, based on your structure, and we're going to be kind of looking into redoing some things to where I get back to that point. Yeah, it's all minutia and stupid, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But so really, when I file my taxes, it'll just be whatever the business has made is what I'm going to.
Yeah, it's what I do.
Versus my
how I do.
payroll. So having my income tax and then the business tax, it'll just be the business tax.
Yeah. I mean, that's how
So
I
it
do
changes nothing but everything.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Less paperwork.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, so I'm not getting workman's comp insurance for me. I'm not getting unemployment insurance for me. So I'm saving some money there. But yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
So that's kind of how we're doing it right now.
Yeah.
And that way, when we do have those really, really awful weeks, then, it's easier to adjust some things versus going into square. So, yeah, that way, yeah, it's working out pretty good for me this year. So, and as we grow, it grows. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of where we're at. So yeah, when we get $8,000 a week or $9,000 a week, in sales, it's nice to see the Monday bank account, which I know is not the way you kind of judge how you're doing, but it's always better to see a higher number each Monday than a lower number each Monday.
It does. I won't. Yeah, I ain't
I know
lying.
it's not an indication of business health, but it's
You ain't.
it's
You
something
ain't
you can
lying.
look at.
Yeah, you absolutely ain't lying on that one.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, it's yeah. So as a casual, kind of guide for me when I'm doing my Monday banking and stuff, it's like we did okay this last week. We did all right. So it's always makes me a little bit sad when the number goes down from one week to the next, but that could
Right.
be 1,000 different things. So, yeah, and then you talked about it was a rough mental week. And I know when we first started, and we probably talked about this very early on, when you started going full time. And I told you that there was going to be these moments where you were just ready to be done. And for whatever reason that is, whether it's a string of bad days where it's just slow and you're questioning why you ever decided to do it, or the time that you have to commit to doing this successfully, and the time away from friends, the time away from family, the stuff that you miss. So it adds up and it takes its toll, and it's hard to find the balance. It's harder for you to find the balance because you haven't had staff at all. You've done it all yourself. I think with you having this week, I think you're going to see the value in maybe getting some trust in some people. Being able to let the truck go out for the day and you being able to come back home on a day that your wife's around and you guys being able to go to lunch.
We're actively exploring that.
Yeah.
So we need that balance.
Having a couple people that you can 100% trust to run the truck, even if you have to do your morning stuff still and just drive the truck to somewhere and drop it off for the day, and you can step away and spend it quality time with loved ones. is huge, and it's important, and it's something that Chris and I've strived for Chris, and he's had an extra day off now, so he's had Tuesdays off the last, I don't think, since I've been back from California. He's had every Tuesday off. So he gets back-to-back days off where he gets to shut down,
Yeah.
And I've been taking Wednesdays off, which isn't really a day off, but, I do the morning stuff. He comes in at 7:30 and takes over. And then Sundays is kind of the same thing for me, because I'll do the morning stuff, and he takes off and does everything else and brings the trailer back. I try to get away a couple days because they're not true days off for me anyways, doing the morning stuff, and then, if anything comes up, I take care of it, and, shit, we forgot to get this from storage, can you run it out to us, type of thing.
Yeah.
Which doesn't happen often, and he tries really hard not to have it happen. Our catering event for Republic was literally, I think, less than a quarter of a mile from where our storage unit is, where we keep some dry stock, some cups and things, and I think I ran to them for things 4 times that day.
Really?
Just like, we forgot this, we're running low on this. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a nice day.
And I've done that before, and that's
so it happens, and we get into this false sense where storage is right there. We can just run and grab something if we need it, type of thing. So you don't prep the same way.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, it is mentally taxing. It is physically taxing. You said it earlier today, and I've said it from the first week we have. We're open full time. I think even maybe part time when we were open. It is the hardest I've ever worked in my life. 100% the hardest I've ever worked in my life.
I'm starting to understand how hard it is mentally.
Yeah.
Not necessarily physically. It takes a toll on your knees getting up and down the truck all the time. But other than that, it's just the mental of, okay, so you constantly don't want to disappoint people. You constantly want to make sure that you bring the right food. So for that car and driver thing, she had sent me a message just shortly after I sent her the invoice, or before he sent her an invoice, asking for cornbread. Well, guess what she didn't get?
Cornbread.
And luckily she's a customer of mine already.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a big deal. I refunded her, her money, and it was like, it hurt me. Like, I can't believe I did that.
Oh yeah.
I had it. It was right there. I just completely didn't see it.
That's where I was Sunday with that. It was just 12 pounds of pork pickup, and just the thought that it just slipped through my mind that we had it. And that's never happened to us before. I would have sat there and served every one of her people at the party to try to make it up to her,
Yeah.
I was like, what else do you need? Do you need any sides? Like, it's on me. What? I'm sorry that you drove the half hour to pick up this pork that isn't here.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a low point. But yeah, it's mentally taxing. And right now, yeah, we're at 50. I don't know. We got 8 weeks left, which means the truck has been open for 43 of the last 44 weeks. This is the most exhausted I've been since we started this thing. And we've been open the more days than we have been for our regular food truck season. We've been busier than we ever have been. But yeah, it just feels like I feel like an old shoe, where it's just worn. It's still functional. You can still put it on, and it'll get you to where you need to go, but your toe's poking out of the edge of it, and rattered, tattered, and just worn. You definitely get to the point where there's some burnout. And if you aren't experiencing any of that, then I don't know that you're pushing hard enough. Maybe you're just mentally stronger than we are, but
Yeah, you should. there will be days that you'll feel it. It might be the best job you ever do in your life, but there's going to be days that you're going to feel it,
Yeah,
and you just gotta take time for yourself, push
there's
forward.
probably
And,
on average 2 hours a day where I'm not thinking about something with the business. 2 hours a day,
yeah,
not counting sleep, which is only 5. So even then,
Yeah.
it's still 17 hours a day thinking of
yeah, if that.
being focused on the business. So it's not for the weak of heart. So, anyways, here we are. We've now gone to 9:55, 9:56. So
All right,
let's get into
Question
these
time.
Isaac questions.
Isaac questions. Thank you again, Isaac.
Quickly becoming our number one fan.
Absolutely.
Suck it.
Um,
Just kidding, I
so
love you.
okay, do we go to random question because we already answered that. I answered that one, but random question: have you all thought about parking outside of a high school to capture their lunch business? My answer to that, it depends if the high school has open campus. If they can leave, then it might be okay, but I don't know if they got $10 to $15 in their pocket to spend at a food truck.
So yeah, yeah. Since with the world we live in now with school shootings and everything, yeah, most aren't allowed to leave the building. I know that depends on city to city, but like with the high schools around here, they have enough options in the cafeteria where they don't need to leave, and they don't allow people to leave the building unless they're being escorted by a parent, or they check out first at the office type of thing. So it is definitely something I've thought about, and we've actually set up outside for football games on Fridays, because there's a big enough pre-game crowd, tailgate crowd, that we did pretty good at the one that we did last year. So, and we tried to get into a couple this year, and the ones that we just home game schedules didn't work out for what we were trying to do. So,
Yeah, that's I've done we'll call it school open houses where they come get their schedule, stuff like that. We've done 2 at our local high school the last couple of years, where they're all their family comes and meets things. It's almost like it's like a dumbed down version of parent teacher conferences, but they're there to explore the school that they're going into.
yeah.
So one thing I don't think we answered quick, or you answered, was he had a question about when you say open house, what do you mean? To me, an open house is where a realtor shows a potential house. Usually it's not a lot of traffic. Am I missing something? Isaac, open houses, I guess maybe in our area they might be called something different. Open house is a graduation party, or at least what we term them as a graduation party.
Yep.
Basically, it's an open house to all your friends to give your little rugrat some money.
Yep.
Congratulations on getting the green light from your wife to get a food truck.
I thought he had more questions than that.
I'm working on it. He's getting there.
All right.
All right. All right. Number one.
Biggest question, Isaac, is whose loaded mac and cheese would you rather eat? Mine or Skippy's?
He said he was drooling and about bit his phone on mine, just so you know. He only asked about your sauce.
Oh, good God.
But anyway.
He did heart my picture, though, not yours, so I'm just saying.
I don't need a heart. I need to bite my phone.
Continue.
Contracts when booking, things you've learned and what to watch for. That could be a whole episode. So the quick answer for me is, and I need to do them probably, but I haven't had an issue where I've come into where we're having a contract issue. I really don't do contracts. I do invoices. If they agree to do it, I'll be there, no matter if it's rain or shine. I'm hoping that they'll understand if it's act of God, such as a tornado came through and I can't get out of my driveway. Maybe they understand, but hopefully we'll cross the road.
So contracts when booking. So first of all, when we do so if we go to a business and it's employee pay, not company pay, there's zero. We assume the risk. For us, that's how we do it. We don't charge them a minimum typically. But we've turned down stuff that, there's only 40 people working. So, but like for our thing this week, there's no contract. If it rains, we'll still be there. We hope people will still come out. But yeah, there's no contract with that. Now with weddings and things that we do, I have started adding in to our invoices that acceptance of this quote or invoice or payment of the deposit is acceptance of this contract. So I stated that the invoice is a contract of payment, so to speak.
Yeah. Good idea.
And I think that works out okay. Kind of covers you a little bit, so that there is the expectation that if they bail, that they're still responsible. If they canceled within a day. Now, when people ask about if the deposit's refundable, first of all, it's a red flag for me. I'm just waiting for them to cancel.
Yeah.
Which means they're putting down deposits probably on multiple caterers, just to secure dates, and then they're going to make a decision, which is fine. I get why they're doing it. But we tell them that the deposit is refundable up to 2 months ahead of the wedding. That allows us time to be able to rebook. Probably not another wedding or an event but it allows us to find some place to go for the day. So with inside 2 months though, we're keeping the $250 and have a nice day.
Yeah. And I'll keep it unless it's an act of God. Like I had to refund one because the last round of bad storms we had he said a tornado went through. I'm not going to go out to his house and say if a tornado went through. I guess I'll take his word for it. But
Right.
I'm not here to take people's money.
Yeah. I know that there are some trucks that do formal contracts.
Many,
I
yeah.
have not felt a need to go that far yet. And that's probably going to be one of those things where it bites me in the ass once.
Yeah. to where okay, this is why people use contracts. Yeah. I always think the same thing, but I guess I'm too trusting that if they're willing to spend $2,000 to $3,000 on food.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I probably have too much faith in humanity as a whole.
We're gonna be the first to die during an apocalypse.
Probably. The heck no, man. I'm going straight to Costco and barricading myself into that shit. Anyways, all right.
How to assess where to post up roadside?
I don't know. Consult my magic 8-ball.
So I've been posting up roadside, the same location. It's been good. I looked for traffic. I looked for how close to the road could I get. I looked for the other, I actually looked at how long has it been since a new restaurant came into town. I also looked to see if other food trucks park in the area. Because if they do and they keep doing it, typically the community welcomes, the food truck industry. Mine so far has been real good. I have had, I think, one or two slow days, but other than that, it's definitely good for me. So I think it's look at traffic, look at visibility, and maybe look at restaurants in the area, and also look for where people can stop. If you're set up, I set up one time at Ace Hardware, realized that their parking lot only had like 8 spaces. Well, if that Ace Hardware is doing really good that day, nobody can really stop and get food. I might be right on the edge of the road where people can, see me, but
Right.
if they can't stop, they're not stopping, or they're not trying to find a place to stop. So,
Right.
I know one of our friends in Wisconsin parks in a big, like a kind of a strip mall parking lot, that has just an overabundance of spaces. So that's my thing.
For me,
You don't really do roads.
the process is a whole lot different now than it was 4 years ago for me. 4 years ago, it was largely trial and error.
Find people that like you.
Yeah. Hey, can I park here? and it still is that to an extent. But yeah, I mean, we definitely look at various things. Not all traffic is created equal. We have found so car counts going by is great. Car counts at 60 miles an hour are not great. So we've definitely had those where we're on a state highway or whatever, and it's a speed limit of 55, and people are driving 65 past you, which is not enough time to recognize what is there and to slow down to be able to pull in.
Oh, what's that yellow sign with letters on it? Damn it!
Too late. We're gonna keep going. There's a McDonald's up ahead. So
you're saying our people need to put our listeners need to put yard signs out.
Yes.
At least a mile ahead of time. Don't drive too fast. Look to the right. Look to the right in half a mile.
Slow food truck ahead.
No, because then they'll say we're slow people.
I always found it interesting when they say it's the slow children playing. And signs was like, that's rude.
Blind children. Good for them.
I'm glad they're having fun.
I actually like that idea. So somebody told me, one of my customers told me one time that you should pop your location so it reads on Google Maps. And I've been trying to figure out how to do that, and I still haven't figured it out.
You just you would have to change your address, your Google business listing every time.
Yeah. Okay.
Would be my guess. But even then, I don't know that it would. It's not like it's going to send out a notification.
No.
You know?
It's just they can. It's more of, can you look? I mean, I would probably do it.
Yeah, restaurants near me type of thing.
Yeah, I'd probably do it if I end up parking there full time.
You know, it's really not a bad idea. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna see how long it takes for it to take. You know, if there's an approval, like if it takes 24 hours for it to change, then it doesn't do you any good. But if it will go like immediately, that's interesting. Because I do it all the time. Food near me. You know, just a simple Google's food near me. So if you can get to pop that way, that's actually a brilliant idea.
Well,
good job, Skippy. You finally brought something to the podcast.
Okay, I'm going home.
I mean, technically not yours, but you know.
My customers love me so much they want to be able to find me.
That's a great thing to do. So I'm gonna play with that this week, I think.
Please play with it.
So
number 3, and this could also be a whole episode, so we're gonna keep it short. How to pick which events to do and not do.
Well, I don't know that you want my advice on that.
Josh doesn't know.
Ask me what I would do, and then do the opposite.
So for me, we have a local pizza truck in town that we kind of base it off him. If he'll do it, we'll do it. No, realistically, get as much details as you can up front. I was asked to do a homecoming game on the 30th with 3 food trucks and 400 people, and my food prices are definitely going to be higher than the other 2 trucks, and it's not going to work out for me, so I'm going to pass on that. There's also a formula that I've been told, and now the formula does vary per truck, but take the number of people that are expected. So in this case, it was 400. Divide it by 2 to take half, or even some people even go really bad, really low and go a third, depending on the event. So go by half. So that's 200. So that's 200 people for 3 trucks. Realistically, each truck can handle 100 people, or at least should within that 5-6 hour period. So to add a third one in there, I think you're just taking away. So, and then figure out how many people you can handle. Most people can handle 100, 150 people. Yeah. Yesterday we did 130 38 tickets in 4 hours. So it's not hard, but that's the formula we kind of look at to see if it's worth it. And then you also have to figure out if they're asking for money. This was a Christian school asking for 10%. Now 10% is pretty much it seems like the going rate if somebody wants money. As my co-host here Josh has said, try to negotiate a flat fee, because at least you can kind of budget that. The other thing is if you end up agreeing to 10%, don't take it out of the top line, take it out of the bottom line. I think if you're taking out of the gross, you're selling yourself short. Just my opinion.
We have been places where we have to show proof, so we have to submit with our payment the daily sales number. Like we have to give them the slip from Square.
Luckily, I haven't encountered those snooty people.
Horrocks was one of those.
Yeah,
because they've been stiff. I mean, yeah. So somebody will see a line there all day and they'll end up with $50. Because. So I get why they do that. The Apple/Barbecue Festival up in Silver Lake was the same way. We had to show them our actual sales number through whatever device we were using or whatever.
Sure. Okay.
But they were 20%, which I think is just fucking stupid. It is way too high. It's a good event, and it sounds like it was another good year for food trucks up there that were there, just based on pictures I saw. Lots of long lines, but 20% is just.
And to piggyback off that, what a lot of people do is when they're asking for 10 or 20%, is they simply up their prices,
which I hate, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, and I when I hear have your festival menu out, that means that there's a lot of people that already up their prices for festivals and shit like that. And I'm like, I don't.
They go to a smaller menu and higher priced items.
Yeah, and it irritates. Especially if you're local. If you're local to the area, like the Flavor Fruit Farm is now 10%, and I'm not upping my prices because I'm local to the area. I'm not gonna, I don't want them to think they got to come less to get the same amount of product. Sorry, rant.
I think so. It's the economies of scale type of thing. I think people are more likely to spend more money than if prices are a little bit lower. So so let's say you bump your prices up. So your sandwich is $7 or whatever, and you bump it up to $10 for the festival. I think someone is more likely to spend $7 twice than $10 once. Or you know what I'm saying? That they're not going to spend. They're more likely to spend. You know what I'm saying? I think there's a potential because it's just $7. It's less than 10. It seems way less. So I think there's probability for them to buy additional food items at various trucks potentially, versus spending all their perceived money at one truck. Or buying less items at a higher dollar amount versus buying additional items. So they might buy one $10 item or two $7 items,
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's...
So yeah, I mean, I think it only hurts by going to that amount. So I think you could go to a 10% and probably make more money. The event could.
Yep.
And the trucks are going to do better. Everybody's going to do better, I think, because
I'm not. If I go to a pizza truck that's normally $10 for a cheese pizza, mm-hmm. And I go there and I see $12, like I'm not paying $12 for a 10-inch cheese pizza. Like it just doesn't work.
And I know we talked about this before. Why, when you were asking me about festival prices and why we don't do it, and this was back. I don't even know that you had set menu prices yet.
No,
when we started, or you hadn't done a festival yet. And I said we have so many of our regular customers that come find us everywhere, including festivals. And the last thing I want is for someone that normally pays one price every time they come, and then they go to a festival and they see it jacked up, or a smaller portion. It doesn't feel right to me, and I don't want them to have a different experience just because we're somewhere different.
Yeah.
I want them
Exactly.
to know that when they come to us, they're going to get this for this price.
So when we had Big JT on, he was talking about Darren Worth out of Iowa, who's a competition beast. He's a Hall of Famer now, but he also runs two successful restaurants, a ghost kitchen. I think he's working on a second concept ghost kitchen. Anyway, so he also has a podcast. It's like an hour long. But the one thing he said he focused on when he first started was don't aim to be the best, aim to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So every time you come to my truck, I want you to get the same experience every single time. I know you do that. I mean, that's why you don't do reheated meat and stuff like that. So you want everybody to taste it, even though you could get it close. You want everybody to be the
as
consistent as possible.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, consistency wins.
Mm-hmm.
So, one last question from our friend Chad. Thoughts on 1 pound packages of meat, vacuum sealed, stored cold in fridge, kept on trailer for sale? Yay or nay?
As with everything with me, it comes back to the health department.
Yeah.
You have to disclose that to the health. You're supposed to disclose it to the health department that you're selling that, and then you have to show them how you are properly cooling within the food safety guidelines.
It has to be part of your SOPs.
Yep. From what, when I talked to them about when we did our full walkthrough, and they're asking questions about what we're doing and how we're doing stuff, and I returned with questions, and I think one of those was that, because I think they had asked if we were going to be doing any of that kind of stuff. When they saw meat by the pound type of thing, they thought we were going to be doing exactly that.
Yeah.
They were talking that we would need a blast chiller to be able to get it down within the time frame to be able to sell vacuum sealed. So that it has to be, that temperature has to be brought down that fast technically. That just putting it, I mean, unless you do, so like a Texas sheet pan, and I think we talked to somebody about it or had a conversation online, like a Texas sheet pan. So the big pans that fit in our proofing cabinets. Laying like a pork butt across that and sticking it in the fridge will cool down much faster. But just doing it in like half pans and putting it in the fridge, I think you're flirting with it. I've done it numerous times personally with competition meats and stuff, and I know you have, and it's fine. I've never had an instance of bad pork or getting sick from it, but from the guidelines from the health department, there are certain temperatures you have to hit within certain time frames, and you just telling them that you're just going to pop it in the fridge to cool down, I don't think they'd be comfortable with it. So I like the idea.
You can Google it. I mean, it's a realistically a two-stage process. So it has to go from like 140 to 70 within 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's impossible. A freezer could probably do it if there's nothing else in there.
But again, I think you need to get it out of the half pan and go something so you have a smaller layer.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You can't just put it in a 2-gallon Ziploc bag and.
Right. Because that center is not going to cool off fast enough.
Exactly. And then you have to get it to 41 within 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it's tougher. Can it be done? I'm sure it could,
yeah.
But just watch yourself.
Yeah, so from a food truck standpoint, I'm going to say no. Once we get to where we have the third trailer and some sort of brick and mortar / commissary, absolutely. At that point, we'll bring in our leftover pork and brisket if we have it for the day, and ribs. We'll get it down to the proper temperatures and the proper time frame, and then we'll sell it as day old pork, out of the storefront,
Yeah.
For half price or 25% off or whatever. Absolutely, but I don't have I don't have the power on the trailer to do it. I don't have the space to hold more stuff.
Manpower.
I don't have the fridge space on the trailer to be able to start the process.
Yeah.
And
even if you think about putting it in the fridge for those 2 hours, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to work.
I'm all for the gray areas in the health department, but I don't tend to wander in there on stuff that could get us shut down.
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that doing something like us adding an item to our menu without letting the health department know, we're gonna get talked to about it if they see it. Like, oh, we noticed this wasn't in your SOP. Just can you submit us an addendum? No problem. We've had it happen before, and it wasn't anything that we did intentionally. Like, I just didn't realize it wasn't. You just add a special for
Just
the day.
try a special. Here's what happened. Yeah.
So, and they happened to show up that day. They're like, I don't remember seeing this in your SOP. It's like, how do you remember? But this is something that is probably something that they might visit you again in the future for and stop by if they're in the area and saw your trailer just to kind of see how things are going. So,
Yeah.
The best thing about having a food truck is you get to schedule your inspections.
Absolutely.
I don't want to leave any reason for any of the sanitation people to be driving by and say, hey, you know what? Something wasn't quite right the last time I was there. I'm going to swing by and see how they're doing. So we have a very good relationship with our sanitarians in the area, and I'd like to maintain those. So
Absolutely.
not a gray area I'm willing to go into.
Nope. Hey, it's 10:22. You got to go.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
We thank you for all your questions. Please keep them coming. Isaac, you said you have 1 million. We're counting. I think that you're up to 102. But good luck on the food truck. Chad, good job this weekend, buddy. And anybody else that's out there, hit us up. Let us know what your what topics you'd like to hear, and we love answering questions if we can.
Yeah, guys. Tell all your friends. Share the podcast, please. It's been great to see the numbers increasing over the last month, which means we've been doing an okay job. So even with all the bickering we've had. So
We haven't bickered.
do we need to bring up my PlayStation 5 drawing again? Or are you saying how awful the Lions were last week?
I just wanted to say that because it sounded like it was a bicker.
All right, everyone. Have a great week.
Folks.
We will see you next Monday. Same station, same time. Goodbye, everyone.
Recording stopped.